So hi. So many players are ready. All correct answers gonna give you max points. But the first question, are you really ready? I see yes. Okay. Then the first real question. So the majority of the plants we eat, 70% in total, require pollinators. Beside that, the material of some of our clothes also come from these insects. So the question is, so many players are still ready. You have to be fast. Which of the following foods should we give up if pollinators disappear? Chocolate, popcorn, or bread? Oh yes, chocolate, because it's from cocoa and cocoa beans, and the cocoa trees need pollinators. So carbon dioxide emitted by humans is responsible for 80% of global warming, and transport is a major contributor to this. Again, a lot of players will be ready. And the question is, how much carbon dioxide can you save by walking or cycling to school or work instead of driving? Yes, 2 big trees can save a whole year's work. And just a little bit of more fact, you can decrease your CO2 emission not only by your conscious transportation, but also just to think about buying certain products that travel a long way. For example, if I'm thinking about Hungary, we don't have exotic fruits from Mexico. So the tip to buy local and seasonal products, this is not only good for the planet, but for your health as well. And the next question is, what is the European eco-label used to indicate environmental friendly products? Tree, leaf, flower. No, it's a flower. I forgot to put the picture inside, sorry, so you have to look up in the Google. But nowadays, a wide variety of exotic fruits and vegetables are available on the shelves of the shops. These are even some produced in Hungary that can be bought at any time outside its natural season, such as Spanish tomatoes or Dutch apples. The transport of these products is responsible for a lot of CO2 emissions, as I said before. So the question is, which product won the Devil's Stone Award for the most absurd and environmentally harmful product in 2020? Yes, bottled water from the melted Greenland glaciers. And the next question is related to water. What percentage of the planet's water is fresh water? Yes, fresh water is only 3% of Earth's water supply, and we use a lot of fresh water for things that we could replace, for example, with the grey water, for example, to just flush the toilet or wash our dishes. In which picture is the air mine? Yes, we can see both of them in the same picture. It's just that they changed their fur because of winter. But now, as the time of winter is actually, there is no snow anymore, and they are still changing their fur, it's quite dangerous for them because they cannot find food for themselves, and they are also easier to become prey for the predators. So our money is also our vote. When we buy a product, we also decide what goes on the shelves and what the farmer produces. So the question is, from the products below, which one is the best choice in terms of the environment? Just don't mind the picture. Cow milk, oat milk, or orange juice? Of course, it's also dependent on your countries. The country in my head was Hungary. But yes, for Hungary, it's oat milk because we don't have oranges. However, if climate change is still going on soon, we're gonna have more orange juice than oat, but hopefully that's not gonna come. So the results are... Okay, the winner is ET. Congratulations. Give them a clap. So thank you for participating in this little quiz. Please go back to my presentation. With this quiz, usually we use this when we are doing a workshop or a class and try to raise awareness to the climate change, to the effects of climate change. This is like a nice warm-up. And with that in mind, this is what we tried to create with the climate educational material that aims basically to increase the interest and raise the awareness of the youth by using the methods of gamification and using the methods of experience-based learning. But why? Because many of the educators, the facilitators, and the teachers are overwhelmed by the everyday work and do not have the capacity or the time to research new materials or ideas about how to raise the awareness and activate the youth. However, the importance of nature conservation is increasing year by year. And with this material, we wanted to help by creating ready-to-use programs and activities for them that they just go on, read, and then they can implement because they already have everything with it. This material focuses on activating the youth by presenting, as I said, I think already 3 times, experience-based programs using the methods of non-formal educations. So educators are involving the participants in the learning process. As the Game On project's main idea was also engaging and activating the youth, these exercises are trying to go further than the conventional transmission of knowledge. And the target groups were, for the material, youth workers and university students to help in the organization of youth activities, mentoring the children or the creation of workshops, also pedagogues and educators to introduce new methodologies and programs for school activities, for example, and lessons related to the topic of climate change. For example, these questions that we did with the quiz, we are usually doing an interactive lessons in several schools in Hungary, and this is how we start the whole lesson before we are doing a presentation, an interactive presentation, to just warm up the children to the topic. And also environmentalists and environmental activists This package is available for any organization with a similar agenda to encourage them to engage on their own. So how the structure looks like. We start in the material with the simple games. These are short, inspiring and playful games related to the topics of nature conservation. This is really best used for introduction or warm-up, or just awareness raising to certain topics connected to biodiversity, climate justice and climate change related programs. These are the examples. Like with the simple games, we have quizzes, nature-based outdoor games, icebreakers, even situation games. And the next section is the complex programs that helps to examine and explore previously unfamiliar topics by using various exercises and activities that focuses on experience-based learning. So the best to use for is to foster the development of systematic perspective of the participants who are doing these exercises. These are, for example, exhibitions. And what is really nice in the material that, for example, we have an exhibition and we have then a connected situation game and a connected quiz. So they can basically make like a whole workshop around it. And also context or the method of biomimicry and related lessons. I brought you some examples. For example, at the left corner, you can see the question and answers game. You can print out the cards. Of course, it's like two-sided, and then you are just cut it out, and then you have the card. It has the topic. So the topic now is climate change and the word, and you have several sentences. And the facilitator starts to read the sentences, and the kids has to find out which word these sentences are connected to. And the more points the group gets, who is the fastest to find out the word. Or the situation game, you can see like what is the task. Like you have, for example, 20 minutes to prepare to do a discussion or a presentation of the situation. And then you have 5 minutes to do the presentation. And to do the research, we already provide the participants some background information, but they can also do their own research. Or we have other games. This is, for example, the exhibition that you can print out in bigger papers, for example, and put it out in the schools and then do like a whole workshop around it with the quiz and the situation game. Or we have the carbon stake, which is basically about dividing the participants into 3 groups, and they have to sort the small cards that you can see here. We have more cards. To main categories like mobility, food, and goods. And then they have to decide which has the most carbon emission and the least. And they have to make like a line of it. And down here, we also have the context that has like a really good background story and have like 3 stages. First, they have to do their research for example, through using the internet, and then on the second round they have to go out to the field and do the research in person with other people or with certain areas. And the third round is like an in-person third round where they have to meet up like what we are doing now, and then they have a task to do. Yes. And the achievements, so we did some teacher workshops, not just some, we did 22 teacher workshops and 413 participants were attending. And the main idea behind the teacher workshops was focusing on the introduction of the material. So the audience learns how to use these programs and activities, and then they can try it out in their field. And the future would be to, actually it's not the future, it's already available online. This is for free for everybody who want to use it. You just go on the Climate Game on website and you can download the material, and we try to actually spread it to everybody who could think that this is a useful material for them and for their work, and spread the word about climate change and how we can solve it or how we can mitigate it. Yes, I just brought you some pictures from the partners who organized the teacher workshops. This is one where in Slovakia, where they are already trying out with the youth. This is the situation game. Yes. And I think that's all, but it doesn't want to work. Yes, thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Esther. I'm a little bit unhappy that you didn't give me the answers in advance for the Mentimeter. I felt a little bit of a shame with my final answers and final score. But thank you very much for the presentation. And now we will give the floor to Laura. Laura is from the Latvian Fund for Nature. Yes. To change the slides over there, back up, and this is the last.
Could you show me once more?
The next one. Okay.
This is the next one. This is the previous, and this is
laser.
Okay.
Just if you want to pinpoint.
Hello. Yeah. Well, the presentation is, I don't know, uploaded, downloaded, whatever you say. My name is Laura, and I'm come from Latvian Fund for Nature. And as you can understand from the name of the organization, we are mostly concerned about the nature, biodiversity, and this is our field of expertise. We work on ground to protect and restore biodiversity. But the climate is something that affects also the biodiversity, and that's why we are in this project. Yes, and we were responsible for creating Festival Greening Handbook. And I would like to ask the ones who sit in the front somehow. And most likely you've seen so many handbooks regarding the festivals and how to make events more nature or climate friendly. And someone might have a question, why there is a new one? And I think this will be the answer.
We humans are party animals. We know how to party and how to throw parties. To set up a single party, you'd need around 30 paper plates, 90 paper cups, napkins, a cake, balloons, a piñata, straws, party flags, food, drinks. And when it comes to organizing a festival, you'd have to multiply all of this by about 10,000. So if you consider yourself a real party animal who can handle all of this, then check this out. Meet Boar Joseph.
Jozefs ir ballīšu zvērs. Pret pašu gribu. Par iespēju filmēties šajā reklāmā viņš saka lielu paldies mazās Odrijas ģimenei. Odrijas mamma bērnu ballītei sarūpēja krāsainus hēlija balonus, bet tētis atveda spožus konfeti.
Unfortunately, he has become a party animal against his will. Thanks to our partying ethics, the party at Joseph's place will continue against his will until the very last confetti of our party will rot into the earth. The same goes for Wagtail Ness and Frog Estrita. All of them are party animals against their will. Naturally, this campaign...
So I think this is the answer. We all like parties, we all like festivals. And if I would ask who, raise your hands, who has participated at least in one festival or event the last summer? Yeah. Let's think harder. The conferences also count as an event. Yeah. So almost everyone, maybe someone was too shy to raise the hand, but yeah, so that's why we created the handbook. And this is the online handbook. You can use it basically only online. And it's organized around the tips on how to. And there are four main categories that influence the event. That's the location, overnight stay, catering, and transportation. We mainly chose the flying as a category. You click in all those categories what applies to your event, whether that's in the urban environment, is it going to be in nature, or that's going to be in green zone of a city. Those are basically the parks. Will your guests or participants stay overnight? Will it be just a one-day event? Will you provide a catering or no? There will be no food. And the last question, is there going to be someone who will fly to your event? And then you get the recommendations
how to improve each of the category, what you can do. And there is also not only what, but also answer to the question how. And you can always find there examples from the festivals that has been done in other countries, so you can see how it looks like in reality. I made a quick calculations, and over the last 2 years, all partners together have helped more than 16 festivals / events to become more green, to become more nature and climate friendly. And I will go through some of them, and so nobody gets upset. I made the order if I would travel through all countries we represent. So then the next country I would go to would be the Lithuania. So you can see the name of the festival. I'm not going to pronounce it. I know only Euros, that's the sea. that's only I know. And our colleagues helped to tackle the catering issue of the festival. And what we suggest is that we try to reduce usage of, how do you say, the cutlery you use only once. So, and here the solution was to have edible cups. You drink your tea, coffee, or anything else, and you have a snack afterwards. If you want to know how it tastes, Inga, could you stand up? Approach Inga, and she will tell you. Tasty. Okay, she has survived at least. So, no. Yeah, the picture is too high, but then the next country I would go would be the Germany. And as you can see, they're mainly also they are tackling the catering issue. And this is the plant-based food. In the previous year, it wasn't for everyone, but this year, every single caterer provided a plant-based food. And they also tackled the toilet issue. I have no idea in which category that falls, but this year they had environmentally friendly toilets. And if someone wants to know more how to make sure that everyone provides plant-based food, or the organizers agree to have environmentally friendly toilets, can approach Lisa and ask more about this. By the way, the toilets is very popular in this presentation. Oh, sorry. I did something wrong with this. Yeah, sorry. Lithuania, there was another one. Yeah, I liked Lithuania very much, so I went back a little bit. So, as you know, transportation, as I mentioned, that's a very important area. And usually if we organize festivals somewhere outside cities, the transportation, how to get to the place and how to get back, it's an issue. And what people do, they use their private cars. Sometimes they drive by their own. If that's the family event, then that's a little bit better. Then at least 3 people or 4 people are sitting in the car. But the best solution, if you have to use the transportation, then organize the buses that can take more people from point A to point B and back. I hope now the Czech Republic. Yeah, so I'm finally in Czech Republic. They helped to do festivals, Night of Churches, and the famous International Film Festival. And as you can see, also here, people could use reusable cups. And the main area our partners focused on were catering and waste management. And also Prague Pride, there was an additional improvement. They made sustainable leaflets. What it means, they are leaflets that can be used over and over and over and over again. In this case, it was, what was that? Yeah. Anyway, you can use it over and over and over again. And that's the idea. You don't put a specific date. You don't put a specific place on the leaflet. You put the general information that can be reused. Yeah, and then I am in Slovakia. Also here, the waste is one of the main topic. They have also tackled the transportation and have created a specific parking station for bicycles to increase participation of people coming to the event by bicycles. There are also green solution brochure produced. And this is, I guess, the only festival that tackled also the drinking water issue, so that you could come with your own water bottle and refill it as much as you want. Yeah, and here you see the map where you can see this is the icon for water, and there was also the icon for bicycle parking, and it's, according to the map, a very big area. So, and of course the cycling area. In Hungary, as I said, the toilets are very famous in this presentation. And this is already the next level, I would say. This is, they tackled the issue compass toilets. I have no idea how it works. So Hungarian colleagues, could you stand up? Don't be shy. Okay. If someone wants to know what's the difference between this toilet and the one used in Germany, please ask this. No, not now. The private, that's going to be very private discussion. The toilets are very sensitive issue, so I'm not going to bring it up here. These colleagues are also, as you can see, transport, water conservation, and this is actually the only partners that have discussed the issue of cigarette butts. That people usually don't consider as an issue, but that's a big issue. So, and if you want to know how they solve the problem, then you also come approach these two ladies. Esther, would you be ready to talk about this? Okay, I got your point of view. Yeah, and here are also the water issue is, as you can see, you can refill your water bottle, and they had also the showers in the festival. And again, I think the shower issue can be approached to you, yeah? The one who has the toilet issue? Okay. Yeah, you can ask why the showers in the festival and what was the feature of the friendly showers. In Romania, there was also a beautiful festival, 5 days long. And besides the bicycle parking and selective waste collection, they managed to have mood lights powered by solar-powered string lights. And if someone wants to know more about this, how to make it work, colleagues from Romania, where are you? I don't see you. Oh, sorry. Stand up, all of you. Yeah, you too. Don't be shy. Yeah, you can approach them and ask some other questions. And what I really liked about this festival is that they approached vendors at handicraft market and asked them to avoid the plastic packaging. And I think that was really nice. And I hope next year, if this year there were just a few of them, then next year there will be all of the vendors that will go plastic free for packaging. Yeah. And I think this is the festival worth mentioning. It lasts for 12 weeks. Can you imagine a festival for 12 weeks? It's like renting your apartment for the whole summer and moving to the festival. And of course, if it lasts for 12 weeks, you can afford to have a composting bin. This is also the only festival that has tackled the waste management through the composting bins. And of course, festival buses and selective waste collection. And I'm finally, oh, they had also the edible plates for the, I hope that's an ice cream and not meat, but let's move on to the Bulgaria. And this was really a surprise to me. They managed to use the solar energy to power the festival. And I think that's a really huge step forward, because the festivals, we can't imagine festival without electricity. Every single participant of the festival needs electricity. Even we as a visitors, we need to charge our phones, because without phones, we don't exist anymore. So, and I think this is the largest, the biggest achievement among all festivals that have been greened during the project. And in Latvia, I'm back home. Our young ambassadors, Rudolf is here, his colleagues are back home. They organized an event called Swapsies, and the greening was, the idea itself is already quite green. We made the festival just before Christmas, as you can see. And the idea behind was that you don't have to buy new things for the presents. You can get free of charge things that other people don't need. Yeah, Second Life for used materials, and we also, all the equipment and furniture used in the festival was rented, and to make sure people understand why we have so ugly bookshelves, we made a tiny notes to every single furniture piece that this is reused, and it was used by this and this, and it will be used by that and that. Yeah, there are some pictures. And thank you for me and from all party animals that got accidentally as a party animals.
Thank you very much, Laura. I guess that we should. Okay, we can keep the new organization. So now I would like to invite Patrik from our Slovak partner BROZ, who has brought his fan base apparently, and he will be presenting the ClimateQuest. Forward, backwards, laser.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm from BROZ, from Slovakia. BROZ is a active nature conservancy organization. So we mainly deal with river restoration, forest management, forest planting, and stuff like that. So communicating climate change was a bit new for us, but we use a lot of geocachers as a volunteers. So we thought that it's a great idea to be a leader of this activity. So our climate change-oriented geocaching is called ClimateQuest. And for you that don't know what geocaching is, it's for the people that like to go outside but maybe don't have anything to do there and they are bored, so they do this treasure hunting where they go through places and look for small boxes, small caches where they find logbook and write that they've found the cache. So if you like to go outside, feel a bit bored, you can start geocaching. It's fun for a lot of people. So it was a challenge how to communicate climate change through geocaching. So first thing is that you can pick the places according to the topic. So we have a lot of really well-oriented caches within protected areas, areas of significance of whether it's in a good way or a bad way. For example, I'm gonna go forward. For example, here you can see a picture from a Czech cache, which is on the borders of Poland, Czech, and I think also Germany, next to a big coal mine and heat power plant. So you can communicate about that with the place of the caches. So there is also, for example, a cache in Slovakia, which is located next to our biggest dam on Danube, and we can communicate the problem of biodiversity and the destruction of habitats in there. So with that comes the accompanying text, and if you have a more difficult cache, you can also have a tasks for people where they will learn more about the topic and also have to do something to find the cache, which is the gamification approach and is bringing them more into the topic. So as a result of the activity, we've hidden 46 caches in 8 countries. So all the partners participated in this. We told 46 stories about climate change, biodiversity, and topics linked to that. 2,170 caches were found by the geocaching community. What is kind of uneven within the countries is that 900 of these finds are in Czech, so Czechs are crazy geocachers, apparently. And after doing the activity for a year or two, we have learned some things. Some recommendation is if you would like to do geocaching as an activity for your future project. So as you could see with the Czech community, the communities are really different. And that's not only with the cachers, but also with the administrators that approve your text and your caches. So a lot of countries had difficulty with talking about climate change and topic as that because it's difficult for some of the caches. So for example, in Germany or also in Czech, maybe some other countries, it was against the rules to talk about this sensitive topic. So we had to find some way to go around it, to only state the facts or the obvious, and you cannot have any agenda there. So it's really different from country to country. For example, in Slovakia, they don't care. So we could put anything about climate change, about our agenda, about EU and stuff, what we wanted. But this, for example, is Germany. It looks completely different because they couldn't use anything from the other partners. And to say about the popularity, 93% of the finds are only in 4 countries. So the other 4 countries are 7% only. It's gonna grow because some of them made the caches later, but it's really different. So from country to country, if you are in Czech, you may work on geocaching. If you are in, I don't know, Romania, I maybe wouldn't recommend it that much. So it's also a bit hard to go into geocaching as an outsider, or for us, it was hard to communicate it to people that are not geocachers because we tried, we communicated and made campaigns to force people into geocaching. But as you can see, I've prepared a small diagram of how to start caching. So first you download one app, geocaching app, you create an account, you download another app for GPS tracking, you log into your first account in the second app, then you can go to our website to check for the caches and pick one that you are interested in. So you choose the cache. Now we want to find the cache. If it's a multi-cache, you cannot find it in the app. So you have to go through a different road and you have to find the account of the one that created the cache. Seems simple for now. So you found the cache. Now you will download an offline map and now you can go treasure hunting. So we are in field, happy geocacher. So all campaigns that we tried to force people from outside into geocaching were unsuccessful. Then there is this thing with vandalism, because yeah, we've made 43 caches, but for now 17 were destroyed or stolen. I think 18 because I've got some recommendations, some emails about our cache not being found, so one more. This, for example, is from Bulgaria. They had all their caches around Atanasovsko. I hope I'm saying it okay. Correct. They had 9 caches for 2 years offline with leaflets, with instructions, and as they put them online, all got destroyed. So I would add a quote from our colleague from Bulgaria that had this as a task. No funny stories from me, geocaching is a nightmare. So every country has different experience with it. And in larger cities, it gets destroyed really fast. We had one in Bratislava, it got destroyed 3 times, so we moved it to a different place, and the same is for Czech in Prague. So these were some recommendations if you want to do geocaching, but I would recommend to maybe start with orienteering game, which made Inga in Lithuania. It's a similar activity, but you don't have to do all these steps with downloading apps and everything. You just go, for example, open a website and do it there. So I also have a small activity, simpler than the real geocaching. No apps needed. So there is cache hidden somewhere within the venue where you have access. I hope that it's not hidden too well enough. Please do not vandalize the cache. I have to return it. It's locked with a number combination. So we will have a short quiz. If you have pen and paper, write down the answers. I won't show you which are the correct, but you will need them for opening the cache. Upstairs, all the rooms where are the sessions of ambassadors. This room, the common spaces. You can find it, I'm sure. You have 2 days for it. I'm not gonna take it in an hour. And in the cache, there are 3 winning tickets for the first 3. So if you find it, please lock it back again. Do not cheat. And there are also wooden coins as a souvenir if you are too late or if you just want to have something to remember the great activity of geocaching. So everyone is ready? So the first question is, which was the carbon dioxide concentration as of September 2023? I think it was 15th of September. Globally. Globally. And these questions, just to follow up, are from a Climate Compact e-learning platform that will be presented later on. Or take photos. Okay. Second question, how much of the global agricultural land is seriously degraded? 10, 20, 40, or 80%? Write down your answers. Everyone is ready? Third question, how much of the Earth's oxygen production stems from the oceans? 20 to 50%, 30 to 60%, 40 to 70, or 50 to 80? If you want to know the correct answer, you can do Climate Compact in few hours. And the last questions, when was the Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit held? You can Google this, that's simple. 1995, 1992, 1998, or 2005? Write down the correct answer.
No, but is it like 1, 2, 3, 4, or is it 1985, 1992?
That's the options for you.
Yes, but for the combination.
You will see, yeah, you will see in a short moment. Okay, if everyone is ready. And this is how you get to the combination of the log. So from first answer is the third number, from second answer is the first number, from third answer is again the first number, and from fourth answer is the last number. So hopefully at least someone will have it right and open the cache. You can take the ticket, only one, do not cheat, and find me, I will give you the prize. Thank you, that's all.
And now you will see he mentioned a couple of days to find the cache. He does not accept the bribes to tell you where the cache is. He's a very... now we will move. Now we will move on to the next presentation. That is the climate game. It's the mobile app that was produced. And please, András from PersonaR, he will make the presentation.
Thank you. I'm responsible for managing, coordinating the communication of this overall Game On project, as well as responsible for managing the climate game, the mobile application. So I'll start my presentation with a story, because the whole story of this application started about 10 years ago when I lived in Bristol. And I went to a loo, and I washed my hand afterwards, and I wanted to dry my hands. And there were two options in the room, in the loo and the bathroom. One option was the paper towels, but the papers were recycled paper. And on the other hand, it was the air dryer, but the air and the electricity comes from the solar panel of the building, of the roof of the building. And I was literally looking on both sides and wasn't able to decide which is more sustainable solution, the recycled paper or the solar powered electricity. And that's when the original idea came out, that if we activists, in a sense, want to live more sustainably, how do we make a decision which steps are the more environmental friendly solutions. So that was the original idea. And then when the project started 4 years ago, we came out with an idea to have a mobile application where we could show off the future, the long-term consequences of our daily activities. So we decided that we're going to be building a magic land, which the background is changing based on your daily behavior. We wanted for all users to collect points and scores. So we decided that the points and the scores were shroomies, mushrooms, because they have a very significant role in climate change and tackling climate change anxiety as well in a different way. And we wanted to have an application which is very easy to use and don't hook you of using the application too much. So we wanted to come out with an idea where the tool and the solution is a mobile application which does not encourage you to use the application for hours and hours a day, just like most of the social media apps. And we obviously wanted to have very nice design and very good graphic designs. So that's the snail, that's the curve, how we ended up having the application finally. About the first beta version was about a year ago. And this summer we came out with the final version. So we started with the desk research, lots of CO2 calculations for the onboarding session, and we went on to the translation sessions with the support of all project partners. And then we came out with the beta version, lots of bugs, lots of mistakes, and then we tried to work on them with the help of the project partners and most of you young ambassadors, but also a beta testing community which were outside the game community. So finally, we created the mobile application. That's the logo. If you want to search on your app store, it's available both on Google App Store and Apple's App Store. And we created a short video introduction.
Feeling anxious, helpless, desensitized. Thinking to yourself, I can't stop this disaster. I'm just one person. Where would I start? We feel the same way too. We crave hope and encouragement. So we created a game to help you develop a carbon footprint intuition. Your island is a magical world where your actions have immediate results. How you get around and what you do will affect the air and water quality. What you eat and use will also show up on the island. As you log your progress over time, your virtual island becomes more and more lively. The less you consume, the more space you'll have for exciting animals and plants. Can you collect them all? Playing is a powerful teacher. Breaking down long-term goals allows us to take daily actions. Few small steps for you, a giant leap for mankind. Fighting climate change is a long-term multiplayer strategy game that we all play every day. Are you ready to join? Game on.
So that was the promotional video. And now some list of the features which the application has. So it starts with a pretty long, like 5 to 15 minutes long onboarding session, where you answer lots of questions about your daily activities, the daily habits, how you eat, how you consume different types of products, how you travel, what is your recommendation, and how you use all different resources. And then it calculates an estimated CO2 emission, an annual CO2 emission of yours, and then you can set your goal to decrease that CO2 emission. So the second feature is obviously the logging. So you can log your food, your travel, and your electricity costs, and then you get points by logging all these habits. You get the shroomies, which you can exchange for different animals. We have now introduced the pop-up messages, where we can encourage people to do something more and get some rewards when they did something sustainably. We also built a donation function. If all the users want to donate, we have made the decision to support our Central American partner organization, ACEDA, and they receive all the donations throughout this application. We have introduced 2 types of challenges and badges, obviously. The one is the monthly challenges. So every year, the same monthly challenge will appear on the application. And once you, for example, in January, it's meat-free month. So once you don't log any meat eaten during January, then you get a badge for the January challenge. And we also have introduced and can introduce new like smaller challenges. So for example, on the top left corner, you see the bicycle. So if you log riding the bicycle for 20 times, then you get a badge for that as well. And about the results, 2 campaigns we ran. First one was to get beta testers. So we have reached out to approximately 2.5 million people, and by having almost 30,000 page views, we could get a nice list of beta testers, and we've seen how they are using the application. The second campaign was it was mainly social media campaign. And we have already reached 10,000 plus downloads. So most of the registrants are still using the application in a pretty active way. These are the concentration of the member countries. So most of the users are coming from Romania and Hungary. The red one is the rest of the world. So we still have more users coming from different countries, mainly the UK and the US, instead of project countries. Also, we have introduced the badges just recently, a couple of months ago, but we already had 250 plus badges. The top badges were the meat-free January, the 16-hour, so the 3-hour walk, 16 badges were received, and then the top 3 countries, Hungary were the top country getting badges by the users. And this is another dashboard which we have created that's based on the CO2 consumption per country. We're still working on the process because the more people starting to use the application and log their activity in a certain country, the more CO2 emissions they will receive. So it just breaks down the effectiveness of the dashboard. So we have to work on the process as well in the future. And for the future, because we wanted to keep this application running even after the project, so we have 2 more development phases. The one will be focusing on the dashboard for the users. So we would have a more enhanced version of the dashboard, so you would be able to track and receive feedbacks on your daily habits and the daily trackings. And the other one is we try to build a community function so that people can do challenges together and also collaborate and share their daily activities and their tips to each other. So that's the plan which we have. You can download the application if you haven't done so. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, András, for the presentation. And yes, please, if you haven't yet, download the Climate Game mobile app. Next, you will have to bear with me again for 5 minutes. I will try to be short with my next presentation, and then we will have the second to last one with Katalin. I will be presenting you the Climate Compact. It is short because this is an e-learning platform. I will not be taking you tests as part of the presentation and as a game, but as Patrik will mention, all the answers to finding the cache are in the e-learning platform. Obviously, I would rather have you focus more on the conference than on doing the Climate Compact throughout the conference, but hopefully afterwards you are interested. What is the Climate Compact? So in short, it's an e-learning platform for non-specialized audiences. What is climate change? I have no idea. This is my starting point. Scientifically sound, but easy to grasp. 12 recorded lessons, 12 video assignments, and 12 tests. That is how it goes. Each lesson has on an average 10 to 15 minutes tops, after which you have 1 or 2 animated videos of 3 minutes each, and then you can take a test. So actually, you can do it in less than 2 weeks if you do 1 lesson a day. I will actually make the rest of the presentation super easy with a 1-minute video of how it is done. Okay, so as you can see, it's about 12 lessons trying to tackle different areas of action or effect of climate change. I haven't reached yet there. And it is a very simple thing to do, 12 lessons, free, obviously, and by the end of it, upon completion, upon finalizing the 12 tests, you receive an automatized certificate with your name in it. The Climate Compact is available in all the languages of the project, so 1 for each national language, plus English. And moreover, we are currently, just like the app, going into a second phase that will be actually to go beyond the project, where we are changing or updating or even improving the design. And that is I wanted to share with you for the end. So this is how pretty much the new page will look in the same climate game. So to make it also a little bit more appealing for users. Just to show you a glimpse of how it can look like. The presentation video, pretty much the guidance on learn efficiently on your own pace with 1 session a day. In less than 2 weeks you can have it, easy to grasp, etc. The lessons, you can watch the videos from your phone, on your laptop, however you prefer, and getting your certificate by the end. Pretty much with all the issues of the registration, signing, name, age, email, etc. And that's a registration, and you can do once again the Climate Compact not only in English but in one of the 8 national languages of the project. That is it on my site. I wanted to be brief this time. And now I would like to invite Katalin Balogh from the Milvus group, Romania, who will give us a presentation on the different subgranting initiatives that were carried out in the countries of Game On.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Katalin Szente, or Balogh, as Thor said. And I am representing Milvus today, but I will not be talking about the activities of Milvus. I will be talking about the activities of all partners, all 10 organizations, all who actually had some kind of subgranting activity next to their own activities. And maybe Thor's presentation was short. He asked me before, how long will my presentation be? I have 50 slides, no breaks. But don't be afraid, I will try to keep it short. So when talking about activating youth, I think that this is a very, very hard topic. I am a communication specialist, and I have no idea how this works. Because when you are not young, then you cannot speak to the young. This is very difficult. And this is because obviously there is a generational gap, but and then we have to tackle this. And the best way to tackle this is to actually use the young people, to talk to the young people. So this is what the subgranting activity is actually about. And why is this necessary in general? Of course, there are 10 organizations, and we worked very hard to get our message through. But we realized from the beginning that there is a different channel that we can also use, and this channel would be the subgranting option. So we are covering this target audience in a different approach. This is a fresh approach, and we are using their knowledge and their know-how, the knowledge and the know-how of each partner, to do this locally and to select different youth organizations locally. Just in a short couple of sentences on why is it important to aim at young people, to involve them in this process. Of course, they are bringing a fresh perspective, which is very clear, and they think a bit differently, and they see what I'm not trying to say older people, but what we are not seeing within the project. And then we have their diverse ideas. They come with different backgrounds, cultures, and experiences, and this leads to a more diverse range of ideas and approaches. Then it's good for their skill development, because if they are involved in different projects, they evolve skills like leadership, teamwork, and problem solving, and communication and project management. So this helps them a lot in the future. It is also empowering to young people to be a part of such a project, to communicate an important message. And this, I believe, boosts their self-esteem and gives them confidence. Increased engagement and motivation, I think this is clear when they are actively involved in projects. This this aligns with their interest, of course. Then this can lead to a higher level of commitment on their side. Then there is the generation-specific insight, which is clear peer-to-peer communication. Obviously, they know exactly what their generation is about and what they're interested in. It also has a long-term impact. If you involve young people in projects, it helps them establish a position within the community and within their organization. And also building a sense of belonging. Obviously, it's a way to start in life, to start in career, and to represent an idea, an ideology further on. And this ties mostly also to the social and civic engagement. And of course, the intergenerational learning. We learn from working with young people, and they learn from working with maybe more experienced or just older generations. And yes, so, and they contribute to reducing the impacts of climate change this way. So in conclusion, it is essential for every project to foster creativity, skill development, empowerment, and so on. And I believe that this is a great way of doing this. And this presentation is going to be mostly an overview of all the activities, sub-granting activities that were done throughout the throughout the 8 countries. So I will try to organize it so you oversee it a bit better. So we start with the Lithuanian Fund for Nature. And I apologize if I say something incorrectly. I do not speak all languages and I don't want to murder the names, but I will try to avoid it where I can. So the Lithuanian Fund for Nature launched a call to NGOs in 2020 with the purpose of educational activities. They wanted to have youth organizations who worked with young people before and who have a good social network, so have a good social media and are very active, so they can use the communication through these channels, and organization who would commit to reach 10,000 young people through their action per year. And they have chosen actually 2 applicants. 2 organizations were selected out of 3. And one of these is the Circular Economy, feel free to pronounce the original name, and the Trakai Region Educational Center. And they received an equal sum to implement their activities. I did not say this before, for those who don't know, maybe that the sub-granting action means that the partner organization is actually funding a third-party organization to get the messages through and to organize different activities. So about the circular economy, this is an organization in the Montes, and they had all kinds of climate scientists in Vilnius and interviewed them. They created 6 scientific videos from these interviews with graphics and with all kind of visualization options, and then based on the gathered scientific facts, they did a short education called Climate School, and this was taken to 24 schools. And then the second one was the Trakai Educational Center. This organization focuses on C2O emissions, and they work with content about tips on how to reduce your footprint, carbon footprint, and they created a calculator, a carbon footprint calculator, which, if I'm correct, what was used also in the Game On project, I'm not sure. They also produced 10 articles about the newest technologies related to the CO2 reduction, and presented it in 17 schools and reached 1,500 pupils and 300 teachers. I think that these numbers are very impressive and shows that once you go beyond your own organization, you can reach a lot of people. Then we move on to Slovakia, the Regional Association for Nature Conservation and Sustainable Development, or as we call them within Game On BROZ. They also selected, they launched their appeal in 2020 September, and they wanted to communicate the topic of climate change to as many people as possible, young people as possible, and they wanted to motivate young people to engage and to have an active approach. They had 17 applications and 6 organizations received some subgranting. I think that this is very, very cool that 17 applications were entered, because it shows that even when an application is not selected, it still starts a conversation, and all these people who applied started to think about climate change and what they could do, and worked on some kind of project in this area. So this goes way beyond the 6 organizations that were actually selected. So Been There Together, Bjorn. This was a game, card and mobile game with 40 challenges, as you can see the card on the picture, and reflects upon sensitive topics to motivate yourself to take action. And it's a way of striking up a dialogue within your group. And then we have some pictures. And we can see the mobile app and the game being used. The second one was Slatinka Climate Neutral City in Zvolen. And they wanted to, the same start a discussion about climate change and why the city should become more climate neutral by 2050. And they analyzed how this could be done. So they came up with the plans for the city of Zvolen. A series of 7 online and offline recorded discussions in the city of Zvolen were held on topics as climate activism, air pollution, young leaders and environment, nature in the city. And the competition for the logo for climate neutral city was also organized, and you can see the end result of the logo here on the side. And here are some more pictures. ClimaEdu Festival, this was the 3rd one, and out of the 6 that they funded. They wanted to instill in young people the relationship with nature, and they wanted to make the environment and sustainable development by building habits and skills through visual arts. And they organized this at the school of Maximilian Hell. And they also had an international photography and video competition for students. In addition to Slovakia, the winners were also from Hungary and Croatia. And here we have some more pictures of this event. Just a second. I think I went far ahead. You see, it's the mask era when we still use mask. Okay, then we have Bistro, which is the festival, Oaza Festival. They wanted to organize an do-it-yourself festival, eco-friendly do-it-yourself festival. So it lasted 5 days, and the people who attended had to build their own the place themselves. And they created a special place for strengthening relationships, for creating creating space and a creative space for discussions and for interaction. And the second part of the festival was more traditional. They had also workshops and lectures about climate change topics. And here is a picture. I don't see them building toilets. Okay, and then the 5th one was Youth for Climate, social media communication campaign about the environment and climate change. And here there were created a series of videos and posts about sustainable transport. and shopping tips and so on. And with this method, they reached more than 300,000 people on Facebook and Instagram. So it was an online campaign. And the last one was Nature is Future. Here they wanted to have people volunteering in activities to help mitigate climate change, and they organized several events, and it was a smaller event than planned because of COVID, as you can see, and they planted 1,300 trees during this event. I think even with COVID it was quite successful thanks to the number of trees. And here is a couple of pictures. Okay, so we move on to the Latvian Fund for Nature. And they also started in 2021. And the aim was to find projects that would inform and educate young people about climate change in Latvia and the world, and to have them take part in different actions to activate them basically in the field of climate change. And youth NGOs and NGOs working with youth could also apply. Here they have also a lot of projects, 24 projects were proposed, which is again, I think, a very good number. And they have chosen 5 out of these 24 projects. And we have first youth organization protests. And as you can see, as the name suggests, this organization organizes different events of activism, like protests, for example, and campaigns. And they try to draw attention to different issues, and this includes human rights and climate change as well, social and economic inequality and other issues that also matter to young people, but not just. Then the project that they actually prepared for this sub-granting action was Young People for the Climate, Young People for the Future. And they successfully acquired, the people who participated in these meetings successfully acquired the knowledge about climate activism. They had a 2-day camp with focus on climate crisis, discussed with experts on these topics, and also had video lectures and climate-related topics. And they also had workshops on climate psychology, climate policy, and individual responsibility. The second organization they have chosen was the Spirit of Adventure. This is an organization in Riga. And they are mostly working on outdoor education, experimental outdoor education. And their project was called Open Bicycle Workshops. This, I believe, is a great way of approaching the climate change topic from a different area. It is actually an open workshop where people can work on their bikes. They have tools and accessories so they can repair their bikes and maintain them. They also have experienced bike craftsmen available, and in the same time they are educating people on the impact of road transport and the impact of road transport on climate change. So I really liked this topic. You see a couple of more pictures here. Okay. Then the third organization was Zadini. This is an action group with 12 members, and they're promoting sustainable living, collective self-growth, and deep adaptation, climate and environmental crisis. And their project was called Act Now, Experimental Theater on Climate Change. And they had 5 online events on topics like youth activism, art and climate change, nonviolent communication. And they also organized workshops on creative approaches to talk about climate change. I don't know, were these workshops live? I don't know if someone is here from... Yes, they were live, right?
It was a COVID, and this project, I think, well, they did perform quite well, but the COVID did the impact very heavily on this project, and everything was online.
Okay.
And except the theater play, that was the only thing that could happen in real life.
Okay, thank you. Because it wasn't clear for me because of the online events, yes, but it's good that it still could happen. So here you have also a couple of pictures about these events and the theater play in the corner, as you can see. The second organization they have selected was the Gauja National Park Foundation, and they came with the project called Sustainable Living for Climate Voices, and they organized an open-air cinema called Less is More, and they also had workshops about fast fashion, communication in the mass media, food industry, and climate change. And here you can see a couple of graphics about these events, also some on Facebook. And the fifth organization they have chosen was SSC Riga Debate Society, which is, I believe, very great because there's no place where you can talk more about something than a debate event. So their mission was to impart knowledge as well as increase judgment and critical thinking in young people, and to help them improve their speaking skills. And they came with a project called SSC Riga Pro-Am 6 Debate Tournament. So it was actually a debate tournament where the topics that they talked about were, as you can see here, whether it would be in the interest of developing countries to prioritize their own interests over global interests. And the second topic that they debated was whether it would be necessary and useful to create an international court to try crimes against the environment and climate. And yes, we have to move on to, Hungary. So MTVS from Hungary had two initiatives which were also very great. One of them was the Meatless program. So they tried to introduce a Meatless Day in different institutions like schools and kindergartens, at least a Meatless Day, I think, per week, right? Involving so they decided to involve and activate the local organizations so they can connect this way with the local youth. And they went to local municipalities and school authorities and organized events in the local schools and kindergartens. And they also offered training for teachers on reducing meat consumption in 7 regions of Hungary. And they're providing basically the educational background and all the materials for these organizations. So they bring the know-how for implementing this initiative. And here you also have a picture of the Meatless program. They collaborated with 2 of the greatest public catering companies in Hungary, and they are providing this way meals for several institutions. And one of them already implemented the one Meatless Day. So this way they have 125,000 meals per week. That means 75,000 kilograms less CO2 per week. The other catering company will implement it soon. So here we already see a result in numbers as well. And then here you have some pictures of the activities, and maybe Eszter can tell us what we can see in the picture, because my question is mostly about the first one.
Sorry. So the left one is at the municipality where they had a gathering with the leader of the municipality, and they presented the idea of implementing the Meatless Day in the catering for the municipality and the high school. And this was a video, like, because the TV channel was out as well, and they made like a TV live video about how the children from the schools were bringing the facts for the people in the municipality why they would benefit with the Meatless program.
Okay, and the second one was Ökoháló, the sustainable educational education institutional network. And here the aim was to raise awareness about climate-related problems within the young community, and to activate young people by using the methods of experience-based learning. And they have involved, again, local organizations and institutions. As you can see, not just schools and kindergartens, but also biofarms and cafes, and they have all joined this network. And then they have organized events and provided also education materials. So 30 school actions were actually organized 90 times by using the provided materials on climate education. And also they have used the Terra Futura board game, which is also part of this project. And then here you have some pictures. 60 institutions joined the network, and more than 100 teachers were involved in this as sustainable educators. And then we move on to the Czech Republic, to Náměstí. And as you can see, they also started in September 2020 and launched a call for NGOs to bring in projects about climate change, education, promoting sustainability and biodiversity protection. And three applicants were actually selected with a very diverse range of activities, and they have managed to cover all topics this way. And then they had an implementation period of 10 months actually. So the first project was called Friends of the Earth Czech Republic, and then the aim of the project was to have young people learn about the issues of nature protection, and to take part in 5 activities. And here they learned practical examples to people from the target group. Practical examples were shown to the people from the target group, and they have learned how to care for the forest and the nature in their countries. And they could practically try out many activities on their own and as volunteers during the weeks for landscape project. And here you have some great pictures about the activity. Sorry, back one. Yes, then the second one was escape game on climate Terra Nostra. I will not pronounce the name of the project, Teresa Centrum. And then the project resulted in a finished escape room focused on young people aged 15 and older. And this is the flyer that you can actually see here on the side, and they worked on this project for between January and August 2021, and they managed to finish this escape room, and I think it's a very cool initiative and especially good for reaching young people. And the creation process itself consisted of establishing the goals of the game, research of the topic, brainstorming, imaginative techniques, and so on. I'm trying to move on a bit quicker now, but just in general, you can imagine how hard it is to actually build an escape room that actually works.
Journalists that are online, but at the very end of the day we still have another 10-15 minutes.
I can wrap it up. Give me
3 minutes. Okay.
Yes. I said 52 slides. Okay, so then the third project that they have chosen was the Prague Pride Festival. So they have actually put together these 2 topics, LGBT with Youth Against Climate, which is also another target group that was reached thanks to this project. And then I'm moving on to Romania. This is our project, so I will just say just a couple of words about it. The competition was launched also for youth organizations. 43 were informed about this possibility, and then we selected them on similar criteria as the other partners. And then at the end we chose 3 proposals, and one of them was Aid and Live Music Summer Camp in Brezoi. This is the camp that we talked about before that lasted all summer long. And it was, they actually tried very hard to implement different approaches, and it was a great success. And yes, it's an open air blues festival. So it's a musical festival. I don't think that I have actually said this. And here you can see the same picture about waste management as you've seen before in a previous presentation. And they have actually organized workshops here as well. And then they also had a Facebook page specially created for this project. And yes, the selective waste collection. And then a couple of more pictures from Brezoi. And then the second one was the Sfera Festival of Contemporary Arts. This is also kind of a musical festival, very small, but still reaching those people who are not really interested in the mainstream activities. So it was here we were able to promote our ideas to really the most alternative gang that can possibly be. And what they have done is they have created bike stands. They have built their own selective waste collectors. Then they also used reusable cups and what else? Yes, and then they had also a phone application. Okay, here is this is actually the design from the cup, as you can see. And it's very alternative. And then we go to the Bulgarian Biodiversity Foundation. They also they launched in 2021 the call for young organizations, and they wanted to inform their members and young people between the ages of 18 and 35 about climate change and its impact on biological diversity. And they wanted to engage members as much as possible on these topics to mitigate its effects. And so I'm not sure how many they have chosen, I don't remember. But the first one was Become an Earth Ambassador with Khan Academy. And it's an online school contest. They have discussions between experts and young people. They also did online campaigns and social network activities. Then the second one was Paid Forward to Nature. This project was realized by Student Parliament and Veliko Tarnovo, and the activities included a 3-day youth meeting of representatives of the student parliaments of 10 towns in Bulgaria, and they had lectures and meetings with experts from the field of nature conservation, climate change, and Game on Young Ambassadors. And then the third one was Development for Educational Climate Tourist Routes. They realized, it was realized by Student Future World Association, and included development of stories based on local facts about climate change, created educational signs for touristic trails, and then 3 volunteers, 3 volunteer opening events, and then a campaign on social media and traditional media. And then, thank you for your attention. Sorry to keep it so long.
Thank you, Katalin. And for the final presentations of today, we will have Mr. Viktor Votruba and Rugilė Matusevičiūtė, I hope I pronounced that well, from the Czech Republic and Lithuania, respectively, who will be telling us about their findings when they went to the fact-finding missions organized by the project for journalists. First will be Mr. Votruba, who will show us, who will comment with us about the fact-finding mission in Kenya. Mr. Votruba will do the presentation online. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody. So greetings from Czech Republic. As you heard, I'm Viktor Votruba. I'm a journalist. I'm working for Czech Economic Daily, which is printed media, and we have also websites. And I was asked with my dear colleague Rugilė to present 2 press trips or media tours. One is to Kenya, which I will present you. And another one is the press trip to Honduras, which will present my colleague Rugilė. So the media tour to Kenya took place last year in June, and it was mainly about the topic of climate changes in this country, which is one of the countries of global south, or developing country, how we want. And the project was quite interesting. Please, next slide. Was quite interesting because there were two organizations which organized the trip. One was the Namisli, and another one was Fair Trade Czech Republic and Slovak Republic. And the topics were not just about the climate changes, but also about the fair trade, which was quite interesting, but very good cooperation. And next slide, please. Just to say something a little bit about the Kenya, it's the country in the East Africa. It has population approximately about 56 millions of people, plus minus 1 million. Nobody knows exactly. And more than half of the population lives below the poverty line. And as you know, these countries in the global south, they have serious problems with climate changes. Kenya is one of them. They suffer because of more frequent extreme weather events and droughts and floodings and irregular rainfalls and increasing temperatures. And I will show you after on the examples from agriculture, mainly the coffee farmers, what happened there and what they showed to us. Next slide, please. So this is our group to Kenya. We were 12 people. There were 5 journalists. 4 of them are working for print media or web pages. One lady was from Czech radio, and almost all of us are from Czech Republic. There was also one member is from Slovakia. You can see him on the right. He's a little bit separated from us. I'm joking, but on the picture it seems like that. And there were not just journalists, but also 2 ambassadors and 1 influencer. So it was quite interesting group of people. Next slide, please. So here we are in our first visit. It was Kibuko Farmers Cooperative, and it's coffee farms, or there are coffee farms, and they show us what happened there because of the climate changes. Next slide, please. So you can see it's really Kibuko farmers. Next slide. So just to say something about the coffee industry in Kenya. Coffee industry in Kenya is very important for the country. It's one of the main export commodity for the country. When we look on the 4 leading foreign exchange, it's number 4 after tourism, tea industry, and another agriculture like planting vegetable fruits and flowers. And we visited two cooperatives in Kenya. Both of them are working as fair trade, and they described us their problems with the climate changes, and it's the main problem for these farmers is the rising temperatures, because coffee and coffee plants need special temperatures for growing and birth, and if it's not so, and if the temperature is higher than it should be, these plants don't produce enough. The production is falling down, and also these plants have diseases. Next slide, please. So this is the second cooperative, Machakos Cooperative Union, and we visited some farmers in the place, and they describe us not only their problems, but also how they do it. They show us everything, like not just how they plant the coffee, but also another steps in the production. Next slide, please. So here you can see the coffee cherries. Next slide, please. There are just pictures to show you that how is it looking, these farms. Next slide, please. And this is the place where they were cleaning the cherries and the coffee beans. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And here they are already drying it under the sun. So you can see that weather is really important in the coffee production, not just only during the planting, but also during the drying of coffee beans. And these people need to know what kind of weather will be in next days. But in these times when the weather is changing a lot, they are not able to know it. So it's very difficult for them. Next slide, please. So, and we were not just only in the coffee farms, but we visited also one flower farm. It's called Longonot Farm. It's by the Naivasha Lake, and there they didn't describe us their problems with climate changes too much. This topic was more about the effects of flower industry on environment and how much sustainable is this kind of industry, because in Kenya they have many these flower farms, and they are working like when they cut these flowers, they have 1 maximum 2 days to send it and to sell it in West countries, like for example in Europe countries. So maximum 2 days, and to do it so fast, they need to export it by planes. And of course, it's not too much sustainable when you send flowers by planes. So this is the question: how good is this kind of business and industry in Kenya? But anyway, it's very important for their economy. Another problem of this flower industry is effects on environment, because they are using a lot of chemicals which pollute the environment around, mainly the water. And in Naivasha, there is the Naivasha Lake, which is very polluted by chemicals. And another topic in Kenya, we visited Dandora, which is one of the biggest dam in Africa. And the trash you can see on the picture, it's not only the trash from the Nairobi. The Dandora is in the Nairobi. It's the capital city of Kenya. But this trash is also exported from abroad, mainly from Europe. And there are many parts of this dam where it's mainly textile from Europe. So the topic of this visit was mainly about fast fashion, which is a serious problem in West countries or global North. Next slide, please. This is Dandora again. You can see people on the pictures. There are thousands of people living in this dump, and they are collecting various trash like plastic, metals, glass, and they collect it, and after they sell it. So it's some kind of recycling system there. Next slide, please. So, and here I can show you just some of outputs from this media trip. It was in print media, these articles about this Dandora place and coffee farmers and flower industry. Next slide, please. And you could, in Czech Republic and also in Slovak Republic, you could read many articles about these topics in print media and web pages. So I think it was definitely effective media tour. Next slide, please. And these articles I show you, there are just a few of them. I didn't use all of them. Next slide, please. And thank you for your attention. And now, please, I ask Rugi to follow me. Thank you.
Hi, hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. I will ask the colleagues to open up the slides.
We hear you clearly, and the slides are being done.
Perfect. And thank you, Viktor, for the introduction. I see we don't have quite a lot of time since we're a bit of late, so I'll try to be fast as much as I can. So hello, my name is Rugilė. I am an environmental journalist and activist from Lithuania. I work with various audiovisual projects here in Lithuania to educate people about climate change, climate justice, and overall raise the environmental literacy and consciousness in my country. I was very privileged to, alongside other colleagues from different European countries, to visit Honduras just a few months ago, where we were exploring the topic of climate justice, mainly how Honduras is affected by climate change and what can be done to solve these issues. We went there with the help of course, Game On, as well as Romero Initiative, and there in Honduras, and in an organization, CEEweb, who worked there in Honduras with human rights, helped us organize a trip and to know the locals better and to interview them and get a better understanding of the issues the country is facing at the moment. So next slide, please. So just a short introduction about Honduras. So Honduras is known, historically speaking, as one of the banana republics. More than 100 years ago, an economist, O. Henry, named the countries from Central America who are economically unstable and are very dependent on the exports of their natural resources to other countries as banana republics. And Honduras is known for their banana exports. Many companies like Chiquita have bought a lot of land in the country where they're growing various monocultures, just like bananas or palm trees, sugar canes, and coffee, cotton, and etc. And Honduras mainly exports these natural resources to other countries. So they're very dependent on agriculture, but because of climate change, their agriculture is facing a lot of issues, which is then leading to a lot of economical problems and devastating the livelihoods of Honduran people and farmers there. So at the moment, around 48.3% of Hondurans, which is 4.3 million people, there's currently around 9-10 million people in Honduras live below the national poverty line, and estimated 22.9% of Honduras, which is around 2 million people, live below the national extreme poverty line. So if we add those two, more than half of the people in the country are facing currently poverty. Next slide, please. So then we come to the topic of climate justice, because as we know, the global north is largely responsible for the climate crisis, but the effects are felt in countries such as Honduras in the global south. And while Honduras emits, their emissions currently stand at 1.1 tons of CO2 per capita, Germany, for example, an average emitted over 8 times more per capita in 2021. But visiting their Honduras, you see that the amount of floods and landslides and other climate-related crises are happening way more often in the country, which is affecting their agriculture, the economy, their livelihoods, and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. So I will briefly talk about the towns that we visited and the issues that those towns faced, because you can clearly see how different effects of climate crisis, like how differently each town was affected by climate crisis. So in the Lacedeño community, we saw the rising sea levels. So this is a relatively small community that lives next to the sea, but because of the rising sea levels, the sea has already swallowed up a very large area of the municipality in just a few years. Next to it, there's a new shrimp farm that was opened in the town, which led to the change of acidity in the water. Therefore, there are not as many. So also because of climate change, the acidity of the sea has changed, and because of the pollution, so there's not a lot of fish left. So people are left without food, and a lot of people there were fishermen, so they're left without jobs as well. There's no fresh water, there's no jobs. A lot of people there are illiterate, so they find it difficult to find other jobs, and they're unable to leave. And in the picture, you see Delmis Yanira Maya Ordones. She was one of the locals that we met there in the Cedeño community, and her house, as you can see, is being swallowed by the sea day by day. There's a lot of sand coming in every single day, and what she does most of the time is try to get the sand out of her house as much as possible, but you can already see that the sand is all the way up to her knees, and part of the house is already a bit under the ground, and so it's clear that they won't be able to stay for a very long time in the community anymore. And just a few years back, Delmis was not living right next to the sea. She was actually, there was a few more lines of buildings in front of her that are already swallowed, and it's mainly restaurants, hotels, and other buildings that were also causing tourism in the community. So not only the housings, but also businesses and tourism opportunities were also destroyed in the Cedeño community, leaving a lot of people poor and unable to escape. Next slide, please. And the Zazago community that we visited, we saw another example of the what can lead to a climate crisis, or how climate crisis is affecting those towns. So in this case, it was unsustainable resource use, or use of resources, because without communicating with the locals, there was an hydroelectric plant built in the Zazago community, which left the local people without fresh water and unable to access river and its fish, which of course was the main source of their income, and that was the main source of their drinking water and their food. And because of this hydroelectric plant, locals started to drink contaminated water because fresh water was not accessible anymore. And Augustina, that you can see a picture of her on the screen, she shared her own story that she was forced to give away her land in order to build the hydroelectric plant, because she wasn't able to read or write and understand what they were telling her to do. So she was forced to sell the land first, but then a few years later, the owners came back and forced her to pay back the money that she received for the land. But not only this, because of drinking the contaminated water, Augustina and her husband had a lot of health issues, and she had more than 100 stones removed from her bladder. She had a very serious operation because the contaminated water that she was drinking was really affecting her health. And of course, the locals also continue to say that since there's no more fish, there's no more fresh water, they're unable to keep up and live there normally. But there's also another side. A lot of people started to work in the hydroelectric plant from around the area. So there's sort of an argument in the town of whether or not this hydroelectric plant is good. But we can also clearly see that it's a great example of what happens when you do not communicate with the local people and you don't look for solutions that also help and local people there, instead of ruining their lives, basically. Another slide, please. In Colonia Guillen, we saw landslides, which is another effect of climate change, because Guillen is next in the capital of Honduras, Tegucigalpa. And there in 2021, I believe there was 91 days of constant rain, which led to landslides, just like this one showed in the picture. And the area was declared and renamed into disaster zone because it's very dangerous to be there and live. And around 160 houses were damaged. And you can see Victorina in this picture, and in the background, there is a small green house that you can see. That is her house that was affected by the landslide, and she was forced to move, unable to live in her home, not sure about her future. So this is another big effect of climate change. And we also visited the community of La Reina. I didn't put that in slides, but it was also, La Reina was also affected by landslides. The difference was that locals wanted to grow more coffee on the hill, so they cut down the trees. And because of that, the landslides happened in the community, which also affected a lot of houses and a lot of people in the town. The next slide, please. And then finally, we visited Lelima, which is more complex, in my opinion, issues the town is facing. So it's constant floods that are happening that the country is unable to protect themselves from, but it's also unsustainable agriculture. And these two things, as we know, go hand in hand and affect each other. So Lelima is one of those towns that is known for banana production for companies like Chiquita. Chiquita has been in Lelima for more than 100 years. It owns a lot of local lands, and a lot of people work in Chiquita farms. But unfortunately, because of climate change and floods, there has been a decline in how much profit Chiquita can make in those areas. Therefore, locals had reduced salaries around 50%. So they used to earn around 140 euros a week. Now they are earning around 70 euros a week. So it's around 50% of loss in their salaries, which is also leading to unfair trading systems in the town and in the country. And of course, as I've mentioned, Lelima is facing constant floods, and they're thinking of building a dam that would stop the floods, but it would also have another environmental effects, as we know, for the town. So they're a bit of lost of what to do next. And in 2020, Lelima was terribly hit by 2 hurricanes, one after the other, just like whole Central America, which is Eta and Iota. So it happened within a week of time, Eta and then Iota right after it. And this led to a lot of losses in the municipality. Almost all of the schools, hospitals were damaged or destroyed, and the loss was in the municipality around 960 million US. And in the picture here, you can see Duna, who is one of the local people from Lelima, and she also owns a small banana plantation. But she's not working for the Chiquita company. Her husband is, and she constantly talks about the unfair conditions that people are facing there while working in those farms. But also Duna has greatly suffered from both of the hurricanes. So behind Duna, you can see her house that she has rebuilt, as she says herself, from trash and from other people that gave her some stuff, because she lost her house during the hurricanes. And she also built a tiny house in the tree where she can continue to put her stuff when floods are happening, because the floods in that area used to be around 1 to 4 meters high. Now it's up to 7 meters high, so it's getting higher and higher. So Duna has already prepared a system to hide her belongings while she's hiding in the shelter during those floods. Next slide, please. And I was about to add that the media coverage, but as I've mentioned, the trip has been pretty recent. We already have a few articles written by Andrei, our colleague, and Viktor, who just gave a presentation. I've done some work in Lithuania, so did our colleagues in Hungary and Bulgaria and other countries. But I do know that a lot of bigger projects, such as documentaries that I'm working on, for example, myself, a documentary about Honduras and climate change, are still being created. So hopefully within the next few months, all of the projects will be visible to the wider audience, and we will able to share all of it. But I don't want to take a lot of your time, so I will thank you for all of your attention. And yeah, I don't know if we still have time to discuss the trip a bit more, or you would like to move on with the agenda. Thank you.